At any given time in our military history, only a small number of military combat artists have served in our ranks. The Army has maintained one position for an artist since the early 90s. The Marine Corps and Navy have had serving artists on staff on a more intermittent basis, usually more during a time of war. Air Force artists are all civilian who donate their time and skill.
First person get the door.
And while the majority of American combat artists, including those in uniform, learned their craft outside of the military, there are a few who got their start here, in classrooms at the Defense Information School.
I can go back in with my pen and darken an area and not leave it up just to my watercolor if I feel like I need to do that.
These soldiers are only a few days into the school's basic multimedia illustrator course, the traditional art portion of the 66-day course.
We practice in the manual art side the art of laying out and how to space elements. This teaches them how to use the elements of design: unity, balance, rhythm, using the elements of line, shape, and space. So for us, we think it's very critical that they practice manually first.
Summed up, this is when the students learn how to accurately sketch, draw, and paint an assigned subject.
It's really laying down that strong foundation, so when we do move into the digital graphics, they can perform much better there.
Okay, but considering the capabilities of today's computer-based illustration programs, is learning how to draw a realistic image with your own two hands really that important?
It really is. Proportion and form and value and color. You can get onto a computer and do those things, but it does it for you. And here, you do it for yourself, and that is how you learn it.
I originally joined in 2003, and this MOS, the classes weren't starting, nothing was open, and now here we are, 2009, finally get the course. I couldn't draw a stick figure up until 3 weeks ago. Now we're using watercolors, watercolors in the Army. Who knew?
Like driving a car, you gotta start manually and then you go automatic. So this is like the basics you gotta learn first, take the vision, and then you put it on the computer and so forth. So it kind of does make sense to do this first. You're working really pretty quickly and you're learning skills really quickly, so it's a fast-paced course.
You know, we're combat crayon, and we have jokes, like we make our crayons out of the blood of our enemies, just fun stuff that keeps us motivated.
It's definitely challenging. I wanted to go into arts. I want to learn more. Every day I'm excited to come into class because I'm like, what are we going to do next? So that I can improve and become a better artist.
There's a common saying that claims art is in the eye of the beholder. If that's true, how do you go about grading someone's artistic endeavors?
Even though he has some creativity to it, it's just the colors, they don't really go with his overall composition.
Instructor Jason Shipp has just started the grading process for the class's self-portrait assignment, done with pastels.
The first thing I do when I'm looking at a graded work like this is I actually check the work order to make sure it's right. Looks like so far his work order is pretty good. Most art you can break down on a fundamental standard. Values, are there enough shadows or highlights in their face? Proportions, are things accurate? Are they the same size? Form, is the object the right shape?
Students aren't graded on skill alone. How well they follow instructions also plays a key role in their final grade.
So you have actually a situation where a good student who has a lot of this potential can earn a grade lower than a student who just came in here with not as much skill. Just simply based on did you hit the mission and did you follow directions? Okay, 88. Did pretty good, not bad.
I am so proud of those students from when they walk in the door and they say, I can't draw, and you take them through the first week and all of a sudden they've produced this artwork that you're like, that is so amazing. Did you really not have any experience? And they say, yes, I had no experience. And then you've got this work of art that you know that they would be proud of and you would be proud to take to the leadership or even to the public and say, this is an Army artist.
You have an overall medium value now.
Though the Navy also sends students through this course, this particular class is all Army and maxed out at 30. Of those on active duty, most are destined for assignments creating art for psychological operations units supporting the global war on terrorism.
Right now, the Army has had such a large push for the 25 mics that we are at max capacity with just Army. Just a year ago, we were at 14 or 15, 16 students max.
Regardless of where they're assigned, the graduates of this course will bring proof of their abilities.
They create a portfolio while they're here of both their traditional art and their digital graphics, and they take that with them. So when they get to their unit, no matter what unit is, they can pull that out and say, this is what I can do.
Specialist Acree already knows what's in store for him with his reserve unit back in Oakland, California.
I will be the only 25 Michelangelo, so they're all expecting me to come back and paint their portraits, and the commander already wants me to make a coin for them.
Much better.
None will be assigned as the Army's one combat artist upon graduation from this course. A lot more experience is required, but one or more might choose to work toward that goal.
If we go into the field, whether it be Iraq or Afghanistan, I hope that I could use the things I learn here and apply them in the field where they're needed, and do the job to the best of my ability.
And who knows? Specialist Acree and his classmates are just learning where their illustrative talents and interests lie. It's possible that in years to come, whether still serving or as a civilian, they too might join the ranks of America's combat artists.
It's only the beginning, but it's fun though.
All right, let's go on a 10-minute break. Be back at 9:40.
1 minute you're watching chickens cluck and hearing dogs bark, and the next it's war.
Master Sergeant Martin Cervantes is the Army's staff artist.
Yeah, this is it.
He's new to the position and has just returned from a deployment to observe and document Army operations in Afghanistan. And now
he's supposed to create artwork based on what he saw. That's it.
So you have all these different photos. Now, how did you take this and merge that into what you did on the canvas over there?
I whittled it down. I had a number of them when we stopped. And when I got back and I pulled, started going through things, that one just stood out the most. The setting is security halt on our way to this humanitarian action. And I was able to jump out of the vehicle for a second and capture a few images, and they were rather striking. As I tighten up the piece, I'll be more concerned with color details.
in the past, Master Sergeant Cervantes has documented Army activities in both photos and video.
You shoot and you don't edit.
A big difference, he says, from his new job.
With the art, to capture the moment, you can't fit it all in a frame. So, that's why you get sketches or take photos from different angles so that you can incorporate it later. Being out with the individuals and seeing the missions firsthand provides the inspiration for doing work.
One such mission was a humanitarian visit to an Afghan village.
When the civil affairs guys sat down and started talking with the village elder, and they were all gathered around, I knew right there, like, okay, this is definitely something that needs to be captured and something that I want to paint later.
And if he ever needs an inspirational boost, he can browse the 14,000 pieces of art the Army has stored right next door.
I look at it as motivation and a goal. I want to be as good and produce things that are worthwhile historically and personally, and just do the best I can. And when I walk through and see all that work, it's just motivation and inspiration. Can't believe all the work that is in here that I get to come back here and look at and research.